What's up, fellow Magic guys? We are here at the Assembly Convention. This is a convention we've been talking about on the pod for a while, but it's here in Brisbane, Australia. And there's a lot of fellow magicians around the place that listen to the podcast. So I'm going to show you a couple of them now, and let's have a look around.
Scotty P here, Magic Guys viewers, putting a face to the name this time because I'm here at the Magic Convention, the Assembly, and I'm learning a lot, taking a lot of notes, spending a little bit too much money, but that's how it goes here. On to the next.
G'day, this is Matt. We're here at the Assembly 2025 Magic Convention in Brisbane. Just here to be inspired by local and international talent. It's a great opportunity to see some new ideas, get the creative juices flowing, and be really intentional about investing in ourselves as magic as a hobby and a profession. I've got a joke for you. Did you hear about the magic tractor? He went down the road and turned into a field.
Hello, my name is Chi Han. I'm here to show you a quick card trick here with 4 aces, I think. No, it's not an ace. There we go. I need the 4 aces for this. And one last one right over here. The 4 aces. What's going to happen is they're going to disappear. No, it didn't work out. Maybe next time.
Hey, this is Brendan Dooley, comedy magician from New Zealand. I am here at the Assembly Convention in gorgeous Brisbane, and I'm about to go and open the gala show for magicians. Now, people often ask, well, Josh and I were just talking about what it's actually like to perform for magicians, and I was just thinking about it, and it is absolutely the freaking worst thing on the absolute planet. I question my life choices. I mean, take two. I am so excited. This is probably the most exciting opportunity of my career. It's so great to perform in front of my peers. There's such a supportive audience. I'm not lying at all.
They're guys. They do magic. They are the Magic Guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 212 of the Magic Guys. I hope you enjoyed our little intro, which is a big foreshadowing of this episode. But to my left, I have my twin from Melbourne, Nick K.
Hello, brother man. It's Nick K from Melbourne.
But this week, we were brothers in the same city. It was funny because we're going to talk about it, but we did a show together, and we both were the main feature act in different sessions, but it almost looked like it was the same person in both because, we had nice shiny heads and great magic.
Extremely handsome and extremely talented. It's
yeah. And
we've joked
also
about this a lot. We should do wasn't there a movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme, Double Exposure or something?
I'm sure there was. Yeah. Or there's Arnold Schwarzenegger, Total Recall, I think. Was it that one? When he's he actually has a clone.
Yeah.
But, what we're talking about, my friends, is the Assembly Convention. Wait, let me do that like it should be done.
The Assembly Convention.
And that happened in Brisbane, which we talked about in the weeks leading up to it. And we had a whole series of events happen, which we're excited to talk about, starting from Friday through to Saturday to Sunday. And Nick was in town, so it was just a whole weekend of shenanigans. Firstly, Nick, I don't think you slept much. How are you feeling now at the end of it before we start the stories?
Finally rested, and today is definitely going to be a rehab day of just like doing laundry and pulling my life back together in preparation to do it all again on the weekend, I suppose, with performances. But it is so great. Just to I flew down on the Friday, so it's a weekend event in a sense. So on the Friday, I caught up with a bunch of magicians. We had really good sessions at the bar. We played a really fun game where I don't know, I should give it a name or something, or maybe even try to implement it in the show. But the idea was that we had 10 of us at the table, and I said, "All right, new challenge. We're gonna do controls to the top of the deck, one at a time, in a circle, and you have to do as many as you can, right? Taking a turn at a time. You cannot repeat one that anyone else has done. And if you do, you're out of the game. And it's last man standing. Let's play." Bro, we were playing for 45 minutes and nobody was out. Like there was so much talent. Yeah, there was so much talent at the table, and we just went like, all right, enough of this. Let's do forces instead.
Oh my God.
Like it was so, and then because what happens is you go in this circle and then all of a sudden someone does something and you go, whoa, stop the game. The hell was that? Show us. And then they give you a tutorial. And so it's this really cool way of sort of exchanging ideas, but making it quite fun.
Right. Oh, that's such a great game.
You start reaching into these like corners of your mind that you like, I totally forgot that I knew how to do a control like that. Super fun. So that's what my Friday was like.
That's cool, man. I didn't even, wow. I had to, well, yeah. So everyone was flying in on the Friday. For me, I had a gig, you know, which is wonderful to say on a podcast for magicians. I had a gig. It was about 2 hours away. So I had a late night, but just from performing. And Nick, are you familiar with the band Thirsty Merc?
Absolutely.
So they were headlining this gig that I did. So I was doing all the roving, and then they came on stage and played for this corporate event, private company. And I wonder if our viewers know who Thirsty Merc are as well, like in the US and stuff. Because they had some mainstream songs.
Yeah, they sure did.
Yeah. Anyway, that's all. So that was my Friday. And then we get to Saturday.
So Saturday was an absolute banger because that was the day that the Theatre of Magic was holding their two shows, one an early session and an evening session. The sessions were the acts that we had rather were our two international guests who were part of the assembly. We had Christian Grace all the way from the UK. If you don't know who Christian Grace is, I'm surprised because he is one of the greatest card guys I've ever seen. He's affectionately known as the evil genius of card magic. It was actually, and rightly so. He's not like, you know, I've seen his stuff. I've seen it performed, and I thought to myself, like, that's that different level. Like, I'm not at that level. You know, that sort of Ponta the Smith coin stuff. You're like, I'm even going to look at that. That's the way I feel about Christian Grace's stuff. But it's actually genius, very clean stuff. It doesn't look like he's doing any moves or anything when he performs. And we can both contest to that after seeing it live. And more importantly, seeing his lecture, which we'll talk about a little bit later on. So really cool to watch him do his thing. That was beautiful. We also had Martin Braessas, amazing magician from Argentina who performed really beautiful Spanish style stuff. You know what I mean? I say Spanish style because it's that European beautiful style of magic, and you know, lots of taka taka tak sort of singing along as they do. And his stuff was beautiful, and his lecture was even better. So it was really, really awesome to see that. So these two guys were performing their sets at the beginning, and then afterwards, Josh headlined the show. I got to say this before we go any further. Josh, it is the best. It is the best I've ever seen you perform. That was so killer what you did in that set. He was absolute fire, you guys. And it was such a pleasure to watch. Like you were like a laugh every 10 seconds. You had a laugh, an interaction or something. And your cube routine slays. Oh my God. Can we talk about that?
Thanks, man. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's funny because I knew we had two acts before, and Christian went longer than we had planned for. So I actually did I did a tighter set than I normally might. But it worked out great. Taking a few things out, it like let the individual effects I did. In 35 minutes, I only do like 3 sets. I'm like a coin stuff, some cube stuff, card stuff. But that audience was like, they just seen like 2 international acts. By the time I get there, they're just like, their minds are blown. I'm like, all right, let me just, you know, add to that. That was a fun night, man.
Yeah, it was red hot. But yeah, so the cube act, right? You had a bit that you wanted to share from that, right?
Yeah, so we have 2 clips. I thought I would grab one from myself from my show, and then one from Nick in his show, and I'll get mine ready. So mine goes for, it's a 2-minute clip. Essentially, it's just me solving a cube. All right, I'm just doing an instant solve, and back in the day, I would do that in the intro of my cube set. I would come out and, you know, to show like a skill. I would say, look, there's whatever 43 quintillion different ways you can mix a cube, but we all want to see the one that looks like this, and I just solve it, and it would get a little And so over the evolution of doing probably over 100 shows at Theatre of Magic, like my challenge has always been to get more out of that first time they see it solved and to see if I can make the audience care about wanting to see it solved, like almost like a movie, add this arc of like tension and conflict before the release to make the reaction bigger if they're going down here not thinking I'll be able to do it. Anyway, I won't say any more. This is me riffing with the audience just to solve a bloody cube. Here we go. Are you ready? No, wait. How will you let me know that you're going to start? Obviously, we're trying to do this as quickly as I can, but how will you let me know you're going to start counting?
Okay, 1, 2.
You'll go, okay. You'll just count. That makes sense. That makes sense. Hell yeah. Are you ready?
Go.
Go. Oh, wait, hang on. Wait. I'm like, okay, so you're going to say go, and then
I start counting.
and this. Okay. One more thing. Are you familiar with counting in Mississippi's?
No.
Okay, never mind. Never mind. No. 50 seconds. All right. Go.
Go.
Okay. Wait. Sorry, I can't hear because they won't shut up. No. Sleep. This show's normally over in 2 minutes, but I love your enthusiasm. You guys are great. Get out. I'm kidding. All right, we ready? Yeah. Hassan, are you ready?
Yes.
I'm ready. Go.
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 I can't. Hang on.
It's Martin.
Martin. Okay. Watch. Ready? Just say go. Don't even count. Okay. Just say go and say it.
Go.
Okay. Perfect. We got the green, but we also got the orange and the blue and the red and the yellow and the white. Every color just for you. Jesus. Okay. That was awesome. Ta-da!
You know what I mean? Like I laugh every 10 seconds, fooling around, and that's the thing, right? Like so many people rush to do the magic, you know, and there's nothing more painful than when you watch a performer who's saying their script only so they can just get it out as quickly as possible to do the bit they want to do, which is the magic, you know? Whereas you're just connecting with them so perfectly and they're bouncing off you and they're in your corner and they're going like, this is funny. You're having a hard time. We see the humor in it. It's such a good set, my guy.
And thanks, man. And the real secret for a magician is to make the audience think that that's an off-the-cuff moment that's off script and they want to see how you handle it. But really, this happens in every single show. Like I've learned how to make the spectator initiate this off-the-cuff seeming moment. And when you can make the audience think this is impromptu, that's the real trick.
Yeah. I think it was Tommy Cooper that said that the most impromptu moments are actually rehearsed, or the best impromptu moments are rehearsed. It was somebody who had said, somebody comedy base who said that, but there's a lot of truth in that, you know. There are some things that obviously the beauty of what you're saying is that like it's really nice when you feel like the only time I'm ever going to see this is because I'm here. Like this will never be repeated again. When you have those impromptu moments, for example, when you do your how would you like me to find the card? You did this bit and you were like, I want it to be under my seat, and you were like, well, fine, bring your seat up here, and you did it, and it was great because it's the type of thing where like if you go to the next show, you know it's going to be different, and I love seeing shows that did that. There was a comedy duo called Max and Ivan that did that in a show called The Con Men, I think it was called, and they improv this whole bit in their show. And then like did a bit of a confab at the end of it, like, you know,
Nice.
It's like they tied it all together in this storyline. It was a comedic show, not a magic show at all, but I've been in love with that aspect ever since because it made me want to watch every single show. Or if there was an ability to watch like the improv moment across the 20 shows, like in a compilation, I would die to see what that is and how they handled it, you know? And that's the strength that routine has. And then there's other situations like mine was.
Yeah, that's right. So I did the first show, which had a few more kids in it. You know, it's earlier in the day, it's 4:30 p.m. By the time I go on stage, it's like 5 o'clock, and no one's drunk yet, essentially. Now, in the past, we used to have a 9 o'clock show at the Theatre of Magic, but we stopped it because there was just a few too many times where people were drinking enough that they were a bit too chirpy in the show when you need them to be quiet in certain moments for certain magic. Magic's very delicate. So we actually moved the show times to earlier so that wouldn't happen as much. So it's 4:30 and then we have a 7:30 show, which is when Nick was headlining. Unfortunately, and this is the time that it happens, sometimes a work group will come to the show and it's the boss who's bought tickets for their staff, and their staff have no prior investment into the show. They just know they're going out to have drinks with their colleagues, and that's where problems come up. And that's what happened on Saturday. To foreshadow this video you're going to see, these people came in with 2 cocktails each in hand, and you know they've been drinking beforehand. So I'm like, I try to warn Martin and Christian, like, hey, just so you know, like, this is a little different to the first show that we killed. Like, these guys may give you problems. And so this clip, everyone's done magic. We've had halftime. We've had to kick some of them out as well. And the 4 that are left have just been chirping throughout the show and like annoying everyone.
Can I add to that?
By
saying that, like, in the first set, it was so full on that, like, our good friends Brendan Dooley sitting in the back and a bunch of other magicians who were kind enough to come to the show were quite literally saying to this group, like, they were shushing them. They were like, shh, like in the middle of the set, like just shh, trying to get them to hush. They were that out of control, and they weren't like they weren't necessarily like disrespecting the act. They were just talking amongst each other. And
that's right. They kept talking. And
it was just getting awfulness. This awfulness in which, like, it was like this energy was like, we got to sit here for 45 minutes when we could be sitting at a bar. It was just that energy, you know?
Absolutely. They didn't know they're coming to the show, and they maybe shouldn't have if they're going to drink that much and chat away. So at this point in the show, everyone's had enough of them, and Nick's gone, I need 4 people to help. And it just so happens that the 4 hecklers that are left are the ones that want to get involved. And then here we go.
Yeah, if you want to play, do this. Okay, you two can play, that's great. And anyone on this side? Or just the 4, the ones in the middle. Okay. The ones that we affectionately call the ones in the middle. Okay. Madam, you got a name?
Jordan.
Everyone say hi, Jordan. Hi, Jordan. What do you do, Jordan?
I work for my mother-in-law.
What does Mum do?
I'm a sleep scientist.
Sleep scientist. Amazing. What does it mean? Like,
Someone reads brainwaves.
No, that's hilarious, because my comedy brain was just like, now he's awake. Huh? Well, he was asleep. Jordan, you're going to choose a card, say stop.
Stop.
Okay, we'll try that again. Somewhere in the middle, Jordan. Okay, here we go. Say stop.
Stop.
Good job, kiddo. Jack, you're playing?
Yeah.
Okay, you say stop, Jack.
Stop.
What do you do, Jack?
I polish heads.
Polish heads. It means he's a mechanic. Sorry, we don't allow soliciting in our building, Jack. We're going to have to ask you to leave. I'm very...
Don't worry about it.
What is your name, Your Majesty?
Andra.
This is Andra, everyone. Like, she meant that. Andra. Hello, Andra. She really meant it. What's your hustle, Andra?
I'm a sleep scientist.
You guys are... Oh! Okay, so apparently studying sleep makes you wild. Okay. I'm cool with that. Okay, Andra, tell me about this dream I had. She's like, none of this is an invoice attached. You shut up, Magic Man. Andra, say stop.
Stop.
Right there. Next. You want to go on more? You want to stay? I feel like I rushed. Yeah. As long as you stay. Nope. I'm good. What's your name, Mr. Buzzity Body Language? What is this? What's your name?
Andrew.
Andrew feels a little like I'm attacked. Make him feel welcome. Say hi, Andrew. It's okay. Loosen up, Andrew. No one's gonna get. Just okay. Just loosen up, bud. AA meeting. Yeah. I think I speak on behalf of all of us when I say you should go more often. Thank you. Good night. I can't get better than that. That's what happens when you come to a Nick K show.
And knockout.
Now, the cool thing about that is after that routine, they were putty. They were one of us. It dissolved all the unpleasantness that the audience had, because at that point I was basically representing the audience, pulling them apart, and then we all became one, and we all got along after that. And even when the show had ended, we go outside, we thank everyone for coming, and every single one of them like literally hugged me. In fact, Jack, who's the biggest douchebag of all of them, Jack, talking to you, grabbed my butt cheeks when he hugged me, which not polite, but he did. But they were just like they absolutely loved me, and and the boss lady full gave me a hug and kiss, and it was really interesting to be able to turn that around. But what was really lovely was having my peers and other people come to me and say, you saved the night, you saved the show,
and because what's most impressive is it shows how seasoned you are, and everyone else in the night was trying to do their show and ignore them talking, or make little gestures like, hang on, wait. But you just went straight for them and showed, hey, I have control here. And then by the end, after that routine, they did just let you do your thing. And so essentially in that routine, it's so funny, but you really told them 3 times, you guys are talking too much, and stop, because you said, the group that we call the group of 4, and then you gave them the line of, this is what happens when a work group gets wild, and then you said, the AA meeting, you guys should go more. So 3 times you put them in their place while just having fun and not directly saying it. So yeah, it's very, very cool.
It's really, I wish there was more of a science to it, or more. I'm very organic in situations like this, but I think the only takeaway for me is that sometimes there's certain things that you can't hide. And I'm reminded of a thing that Gregory Wilson said: if you can't hide it, highlight it. Now, he was talking about method when he said that. If you can't hide a method, highlight the method. And he does a really ugly pass to get away with it. It was something of that nature. But we couldn't hide the fact that this group was out of control, that they'd overdrank, and that they were behaving improperly. So I had to highlight it. And when I had old mate go, and mind you, there was a few more people down that line that were equally as bad, but they were the particular work group we were talking about. And Scotty Painter said, if there's an elephant in the room, Nick Kay's riding it. So
good stuff, Scott.
Yeah, and so it was just good to, and especially that moment when it's this was an AA meeting, I was like, you should go more often.
Dude, how perfect, by the way, that he said that. Obviously amazing that you clocked that and used it, but how funny that he said that for this moment. It was too good. And there's so many other moments where Nick heckled back at these guys in the show, but this was just the one where he took on all 4 at once. And it was just too good. And this is something that will happen when you're performing, even if it's roving. I mean, roving even more, people give you less authority sometimes if they're drinking and stuff. And sometimes there's this moment where, as magicians, we feel like if we tell off one person, it's going to ruin our career. Word's going to get around that we're mean to people, and I can't tell that person to stop talking, but the rest of the audience appreciates it. And so sometimes it's required, even though it feels because the last thing I want to do is create conflict in a show that's meant to just be fun. But it is required. And I would say, in a year and a half of doing Theatre of Magic, it's probably only happened 3 times that we've had to directly in the show say, hey, we will have to ask you to leave if you don't stop talking. It's so rare, but it happened on the convention weekend, of course. And Nick took it like a champ. Otherwise, we got 2 standing ovations in our shows, thanks to the Magicians and the Amazing Nigel. And what a night. So that was Saturday. And you know what? Just a personal note, what was really cool was meeting Martin and meeting Christian. And as I'm meeting them, they're saying to me, oh, I've seen your videos. I love your stuff. Great to meet you. And we already have this instant rapport because obviously I already adore them, but they've seen my stuff. And Christian's such a instant bro. Like he's like, bro, oh, I love your stuff. Oh, this is going to be great. And that was, I'm not saying to post more videos, guys, but I'm just saying it helps breaking the ice sometimes. And it did, and it was great for that reason. Anyway, I just wanted to say that.
That was great. And you did a fantastic performance. When you're headlining a show, there is this huge responsibility. And we'll wrap up by saying this, if I may. It's just that, I genuinely turn to my peers. I turn to people like, the Dooley and Byron and people I was hanging out with. And I actually said to them quite openly, I said, this is the first time in forever that I've actually felt nervous for a performance. And I had to reflect as to why that was. And it was like, well, I'm kind of being in front of my peers. I'm following world champions of magic and international magicians. And I think that what I was most nervous about was that I had a set list that made me feel like I was locked in. And then I made the decision before the show to go, okay, I've got a plan, but deviate. And I wasn't going to do those routines to control those audiences. I was going to do other stuff, but I had to change. And the stuff that I didn't do, and the stuff that I threw in, because by reputation, Christian was like, you need to do this phone vanish thing. And I was like, I wasn't gonna, but now I will. So I had to change. So I changed my whole set in order to keep everyone happy. And that's when I felt like at peace before I did my set. I'm like, I got a couple of things I'll try. And then I'm going to freestyle and see how it ends.
Yeah.
So
nice.
There it is. And so Theatre of Magic night wrapped up. We had an awesome night. Hooray us. Round of applause. Good job.
Boom.
Yeah.
Do I even have the applause? Oh, yeah.
There you go. Then taking it to the next day, the happy Sunday, everyone went to church. Nobody went to church. And then we went to this convention.
Yeah.
The day kicked off. Well, it was great. Firstly, what I loved is that I met so many nice people who listened to the pod. Did you meet Gregory?
Yeah, of course, Gregory. Yeah. We're Facebook
I hadn't met
friends
him
now.
before, but that was so cool. Dave, Mr. Perfect, met him as well in the lot. He was like, hey, man, you make my drives home so much more bearable. And I'm like, thank you so much, man. That's so cool.
So cool.
Yeah. And then hanging out with Scotty P as well. And he was like, did a paid gig last night. And I'm like, my boy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was just...
Actually, yeah, if we get time at the end, we have a speak pipe from him. I made him send in a speak pipe about his first paid gig. But whether we play that now or next time, it's okay. But that's in the bank.
We'll do a dedicated speak pipe episode the week after. That. Either way, we'll figure it out.
Heck yeah. Absolutely.
Or maybe just
seeing him. You want to do it now?
Yeah, we're doing it. No. Saying that send through your speak pipes. Next week we're doing speak pipes.
Sorry.
Do we have anyone coming to interview?
Not yet, but someone pretty exciting is in the works right now. But we'll leave that for now. And also, just while it's in my brain, next week in Brisbane, if you haven't got this email already, we have Jeff Hobson coming to lecture in Brisbane at our Theatre Magic venue, but obviously through Piper Magic. And that's crazy. I've heard people have messaged me saying already that they're going to fly in to come and see this. It's a one-off lecture because he's here doing a show. He's part of a big performance at QPAC, I think. And he's going to be here. Anyway, so the next day when we do the podcast, we'll be coming off of just having seen his lecture. So I'll be able to report back on that as well. Tim's asking, how many people were in attendance? How many people do you reckon?
Well, they're both sold out shows. What's the capacity
of
the
convention?
I think it was limited to 150, wasn't it?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah. Which is a lot of people to have in a Brisbane magician convention. Like to have in Brisbane that many was great.
Yeah, exactly. So circling back to the convention, we kicked off the day with some performances, which was really cool to start off with that. So there was 2 rooms that were separated. With the rooms up, really well seated, and then the acts circulated performing. It was awesome, you know. So you see Martin Braessas go up there, do his set, killer stuff. Then you see same thing with Christian Grace. He was awesome. And then we had card genius
Sean Taylor. Oh, Sean Murgard.
Well, that's about his storytelling piece.
Andrew Wimhurst.
Andrew Wimhurst did a bit, and man, watching the mechanic work proper is pretty cool. Like he's doing things that I see done with breathers and so forth, and he wasn't doing no breathers, man. Like he wasn't doing any of that. Like it was just the most perfect cheating methods used to achieve magic effects. Watching him do that, it was very, very cool. Watching him work was quite lovely. And but yeah, let's talk about Sean Murgard real quick, because I have been dying to meet him forever. If you don't know who he is, he's like, he's one of Brisbane's best kept secrets, is the way I'm gonna paint him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's affectionately known as the storytelling magician, which is, I think, a difficult thing to be able to achieve. And he gets up, he tells really interesting, meaningful pieces. And when he speaks, he has this kind of gravity, this magnetic sort of acting ability that I've only ever seen in someone like Edward Norton. And he has that energy. And when he speaks and he's telling his stories during these performances, man, I was just so suckered in, and the guy had my full attention, and he performed really cool stuff, like just really, really cool stuff. And I was so happy to finally meet him. So I just wanted to sing his praises while we had an opportunity, and more importantly, while he was on topic. You went around for the first portion of the close-up show. Where are you, Josh? You would.
No, I had to sleep in, like in classic magician fashion. I needed a sleep in after Theatre of Magic and my event on Friday. So I missed the close-up show. But what Nick's talking about is the convention started with a close-up show where the audience is split into 2 different rooms, and you watch people do close-up magic. Then everyone would switch to the other room.
Yeah.
And then they'd see the other show that, you know, the first audience saw. So Sean Murgard's been a good friend in Brisbane. He's like so well researched in his magic and great storytelling. He was a mentalist for a long time, but his magic's just so well thought out. So I'm glad you got to see him in person.
So stoked. And yeah, if there's and he'll be performing with you this weekend at the Theatre of Magic. So if you guys are in town, I implore you, go scope it out if it hasn't sold out already, because he is fantastic. Now, moving along, first lecture, Christian Grace. Bro,
I think Martin went first, but that's okay. Let's talk about.
I'm just going off. I'm just going off what the program said.
That's fine. Yeah. So
Martin was Christian Grace.
Sure.
Yeah.
Great. Well, yeah, Christian. I love his energy, man. Like, it's so funny. His character, if I had to describe it, would be a guy that just got, it's like Peter Parker just being bitten by the spider and discovering he has magic. And he's so excited to share with everyone this magic that he's like able to do now. Like he just seems like a normal dude at the bar, but he can just fucking blow your mind. And then he can even like give the power to someone else in the audience and make them have magic powers. Like he's having so much fun in the meantime while doing it. And then, of course, we start to learn about some of his thought process for how he's doing his magic. And he just kept frying us. And then he'd teach us how he did it. And we're just so impressed. And then he'd fry us again. Then he'd borrow a deck and fry us with someone else's deck. And and not only is he an amazing card magician, but he is also the creator of the is it Cognito? Cognito app.
I thought it was called Enigma.
That's what I meant to say. That was my second. Yeah, the Enigma app as well.
Yeah,
as well as his Magic Monthly.
That's the thing. It's, you know what it is? I almost feel like he's like one of the world's best mentalists disguised as a card guy.
Yes.
Because he has this psychological process in what he does that is so convincing. And it's really nice that people take the time to think about that. They think about the actual psychological experience that they're having. And the premise is very interesting. He did this particular effect. It was called paradox.
The paradox, yeah.
The paradox routine. And I'm going to do my best to describe this quickly so you could appreciate it. And the reason I bring this up is that he has a online forum, a monthly magic thing that he does, where if you were to join, there is already 100 plus routines that he's created, and you have access to all of that should you join tomorrow. It's, you know, we might even do our best to try bring him on the pod so we can have an opportunity to tell you himself about it. So I won't say much more about that, but I will say there was one particular routine where a card is selected in the most fairest condition, and then there's this visual image that he wants to lock in everyone's mind, in which there is one card in front of you, the spectator, and he, the magician, there is a deck of playing cards. And then he just starts, without going near them, other than giving them some cards to shuffle, they shuffle their card into just packs of cards. And he has them take cards until there's only like 3 or 4 left. And he's like, choose one, take one, top, middle, or bottom. Great. And they make all the choices. And then they now have shuffled their card. You haven't touched the deck once. And there's one card left in his hand, and it's on the table. So then there's this beautiful reverse paradox moment where in the beginning of the routine, he had the pack, they had one card. At the end of the routine, without going near their selection, which they still have, they now have the pack and their card in that pack, and he's got one card in front of him. Only he doesn't. He turns the pack over, spreads through, their selection is gone, and the one card in front of him is their selection. Like, it is so cool, man. So cool, because it's just so cool. And the method's even cooler. Like, it's even cooler.
The method is really cool. And I watched him do that twice at the Theatre of Magic in both shows, and then in his lecture. And every time, like, I'm fooled. I was fooled like tremendously the first time I saw it. Second time, I'm still pretty fooled. And then even by the lecture, I'm still like, I still couldn't go and perform this. I still don't know X, Y, like, and then he reveals it and you're like, oh my God, I wouldn't even think that you would be doing that.
It was.
Yeah, Juggling Liam is saying, yeah, Christian was amazing. Yeah, his thought process is so good. And he even taught an effect using someone else's deck where they just peek at a card and then you can cold read them and divine what their card is. And you're actually doing cold reading for a good portion of it to genuinely find out what parts of their card is. And then he taught it. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so great.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll definitely get him on the pod. I'm sure. I mean, why wouldn't he want to come on and promote Magic Monthly? So I'll shoot him off a message.
We will beg him, absolutely.
Please, come on. Yeah. So good.
So then he shared a myriad of wonderful things. We could talk about him for the entire episode almost, but the thing is, there's so much more to talk about. So after that, we had a lunch break. That was great. And then we pop back into the next lecture. Martin Braessas, amazing magician from Argentina. His lecture for me was the best thing about the assembly, for me personally, because he had so many ideas and beautiful thoughts that I wanted to implement in myself. And I knew the methods out there, but I didn't want to use those ones. And then he just come forward and goes, well, I do these methods and these are my solutions. Check them out. Beautiful stuff. Absolutely beautiful. Oh, do we need a reference? What's just popped up?
Yeah, absolutely. Matt. Yep. Matt Sigmeyer, thank you for the $10 donation to the Magic Guys. That will get us some sweet couple of decks of bicycles. Thank you, my friend. His question is, I mainly do close-up, but I've been hosting a local trivia night on the mic and want to try a parlor-style trick for a group of about 30 to 40 people. Why am I scared out of my boots, and how do I work through it? Oh, you've come to the right place, my friend. And thank you. These trivia nights, I have another friend named Max in Brisbane who does the same thing. He hosts a trivia night because magicians are great showmen naturally. And trivia nights no piece of cake. But you know what? This is a great place for you to start trying magic because you're not there predominantly to do a whole show. You can just start with one piece at a time. So Nick, how does he work through it, being scared?
Well, here's one thing you might want to do, Matt. If you do close-up magic and you're obviously more comfortable performing what you know, one thing you want to sort of understand and consider about close-up magic is that it's performed like typically on a table flat in what I guess this is the horizontal plane. If you have a way of performing the same routine, but think about presenting it in a more vertical plane, right? Like in front of you, you might be able to do the same stuff you already know, just present it on a different plane, which means that you don't need to feel worried or frightened about it because you know the routine. You're already working an existing repertoire. You're just doing it up high where people can see it a bit better as opposed to holding it down here on a flat plane where they would look at it from the table above. So go through your repertoire and see if there's anything there that you might be able to perform in a stand-up position as opposed to flat in a table. That's my first thing to advise. Josh?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Find a routine that you're most comfortable doing. You've done 1,000 times. Find a way to present that standing up. Like if card magic is your jam, then learn like the homing card, the cards to pocket. It's like ambitious, but you can do it standing up. The audience can understand something was here and now it's here. And that's it. You're always going to feel comfortable. You're always going to feel scared because of the unknown. Like you just haven't done it yet. That's all. But you're being scared of something that hasn't happened yet. So why be scared? Once you do it, you'll feel great. You'll learn from it either way. Just make sure the thing you're doing don't do something new, like completely new. That'll make you more worried. But confidence comes from preparation. So just rehearse it lots standing up. Do something quick, like just do something that's like a quick prediction or something fast. Then the next trivia night you host, do something that's a little bit longer. Yeah, I think you'll have fun with it. I think you'll be okay. And I look forward to send a speak pipe if you are giving it a go. Tell us what happened.
Absolutely, buddy. Best of luck with it. And lean on us, of course, if we can be of any help. Yeah,
100%. I love it. So Martin, now watching Martin's lecture, I loved it. I loved it. And I could see it being down your alley, Nick, especially with some of his methods. And like he did this one tidbit, just the effect, like what I saw happen. How cool is this? He takes flash paper and he takes a lighter. He lights the flash paper and it turns into the lighter he just lighted the flash paper with. And he turns back and now there's nothing in his hand. Like what a fun moment to just like discombobulate someone's brain for a second. Like what did I just see happen?
Yeah.
And he's explaining that this is something he would do casually, where he hasn't said he's going to do magic. He's just with his friends or at a bar, or people don't know he's being like that. He knows they're watching him. He would just do it. And it's the lighter. Like that's just the tip of the iceberg. But I was the first person to get in line to buy what he was selling. Because it's typical when a magician lectures, if you haven't been to a convention, that they'll actually talk about some things that they will sell, like because some things will require props or gimmicks or whatever. And he did. And man, like the line was, I think every single person that I've talked to so far left with a Martin Braessas effect because it's so good.
He has these beautiful gimmicks in which let me describe the effect. And when you purchase the gimmicks, it allows you to do this. So there's a candle and he basically hand palm down, touches the candle and turns his hand up and he's holding fire. He is holding fire. One more time. He is holding fire. Okay. He then closes his fist to put the fire out. And when he opens his hand, he's got a coin on his hand. And then takes the coin, does it again. He's holding fire, closes his hand, fire goes out, opens it up, another coin. And he produces 3 coins in this manner. Sick stuff, man. And then he shows how you can adapt the gimmick where you can produce billiard balls. You can produce like all
You can
manner
produce a cookie from the event that you're at. Like you can have fire and turn into a cookie, take a bite out of it.
Yeah.
He made a sponge ball appear from fire. That was impressive because sponge balls don't like fire. And he's like, and there's a red sponge ball.
Yeah.
Like, just so cool.
Yeah.
I immediately find that intriguing to use more than flash paper for certain items because it's just so cool to be able to come up to, like, how many times at events are they those little bowl candles on tables? And if you can just come up to it and instead of doing flash paper, throwing it to your hand for whatever, you just come over it. They see you pick up the freaking flame and then you close your hand and it's an item. It's so great.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good.
Liam was saying he had an electric fire wallet. Those are pretty epic. Yeah. In fact, it's so rare to even find those nowadays. He actually has some stuff that he hadn't even demoed yet, but that was available at his merchandise stand. That really cool thing with the silk, which is not his, but he had access to it. There was a particular gimmick deck that he had, this blank deck effect that he was performing, and that was really special. And so I bought the deck because I like having utilities. I like things that like you can create your own stuff out of it. You know what I mean? If someone said, look, here's a saw, you can build houses with it. Great. I can build my own house with this saw. I like that manner of thinking. So that was, it was really cool. He is lecturing here in Melbourne. Any Melbourne listeners out there, if you haven't got tickets, like it's not just a dedicated boring card lecture. It's not. My advice, you have to see it. Like I said, for me, it was my favorite thing of the whole convention because it speaks to me and my style of magic. Go see it if you haven't got a ticket yet. Please go get one now. So after that, we had dinner. We had Sean Taylor's lecture. Come on, man, Sean Taylor. He is now originally from the UK and now an Australian national treasure. That's what this guy is, honestly. His accolades are phenomenal. He's worked on so many things. One of the best routines that were part of the Penn and Teller tour. You might recall when we went and saw Penn and Teller how we did this effect with these balloons and so forth. Sean Taylor had a very big hand in that. And a lot of people don't know that, but you know, it's just goes to speak to the volumes of knowledge this guy has. And he's released so many books, Mind Coaster, and the other one, was it Minefields?
I know he has Mindstorm or his books.
Mindstorm and there was Mind Coaster. That's the one.
Right.
The two main books. His thought process on the mentalism game is very good, very practical, and it's genuinely things that he performs himself. And I'll talk about his performance in the gala later, but the lecture was so good. And one thing that stood out, he has this deck of cards that emulates the ESP thing. Never really liked where people go like, I have these ESP cards and they only have 6 cards, but he has this genius thought process where he's taken ESP cards and literally converted them into a proper pack of playing cards where you have 4 different colors representing 4 different suits, and each value is represented by an ESP symbol that is extremely easy to remember with a very good marking system and a whole bunch of other stuff. I cannot tell you how good this is. If you are a mentalist and this is not in your kit or you don't own one of these, you're doing yourself a disservice. Like, it is so good. So good.
Yeah, it was great to see a pro that just like he's released so many effects over the years because he's just so great at creating magic while performing. And he just, he just banged out like so much magic in the lecture. He's like, here's another thing I created, here's another thing. And his ESP deck, to have an entire deck of essentially different ESP symbols because there's different colors and variations. Now you can do card effects, but it's not a card effect because you're using symbols, reading their mind, and totally different. And he fried us with a good bunch of effects.
Yeah. His work on the envelope was...
That's him texting you right now, I think.
He goes, he could tell I was talking shit about him. He can tell. So it was the envelope stuff that he did as well. You know, he did this beautiful. I'm getting sent nudes. I'm sorry. From Sean Taylor. I'll mute that. So yeah, his envelope work was really, really cool. Like really, really cool. And it's not something I mess with, and I regret it now. Like it's definitely something that I'm now going to mess with.
Yeah, scope out his work. Yeah, his envelope real quick. Like for example, he showed instead of doing a coin flip where you have a whole audience standing up, this macro effect, you do a heads and tails game until you whittle down to one person. He has a way to do it with envelopes, and it's asking questions like, what do you prefer, A or B? And just freely just ripping this envelope open, taking out the answer, you can whittle down and predict who will be the final person. And now you're not relying on, can I sense which way up or down this coin is? Or, you know, in the moment you forget or accidentally say the wrong one. It's a very surefire method that you can tailor to have, like if you're at a company event, the questions can be tailored to the industry you're in. It's very, very, very clever. Definitely search it out. And yeah, he's a pro. You can tell he's a pro. He's done it forever.
Yeah.
It's wicked.
Yeah. And we'll circle back to his can we move on to the gala now and talk about like what that was like?
Yeah.
So after that amazing lecture, which again we could talk about for a whole episode, we had a gala show in which we had a mixture of our international guests and of course our local talent performing there. One of which, of course, was our good friend, the Amazing Nigel, who took the night out doing his signature pieces, which are amazing. But the night kicked off with our MC, who is an absolute hero of mine. If you don't know him, his name is Darren Carr. And he is,
my God.
If he's not one of the funniest people on the planet, Christ almighty.
Yeah. Okay.
Darren Carr,
I need to
sing his praises. Sing it.
I need to see that. I need to say this because this is my first time. I'd heard of Darren Carr because he'd been on one of the earlier seasons of Australia's Got Talent, and I knew he was working the scene, doing corporate gigs. I'd hear about him talking and stuff like that. Scotty P is saying in the chat, Darren had me peeing my pants. Absolutely. And that was even before the show. I'd never seen Darren work in person. So anytime I met him, he just looked like a very polite guy because he wasn't, you know, in show mode. So I assumed he was good, but that was kind of it. But seeing this guy work was freaking mind-blowing.
Unreal.
His timing and writing ability for jokes and callbacks and his tonality and like the silence before he continues to make you laugh. Like he'd make you laugh by not saying anything. And then obviously he's a comedian, but his act is ventriloquism throughout the show mixed up amongst his comedy. And, you know, sometimes when you hear us talk about magicians, you know, we sing them praise because, you know, we're nice guys and they're nice guys, so we'll sing them praise. But this is not that. This is genuinely... This freaking guy had 150 magicians losing their shit every single time he came on stage. Like, Nick, what was the first thing he did? And by the way, he's quite a chunky dude and he uses that in his act. So we can say that, right? Like he's a big dude. So you see a big dude come on stage and then what happens, Nick?
Yeah. So he's a heavy set dude, super stocky looking, but more like a cuddly, wholesome thing, right? And he comes out, he's got his suit on, he grabs the microphone, and then he says, he grabs the microphone, he then grabs the mic stand and says, let me get this out of the way so you can see me.
And that hit so well just to start things off, you know?
Especially when he's this heavy set dude, and it's like, we can see you, buddy. We can see you. And it's so rare that with a single line that everyone goes, like he hits so fast and so hard as far as a laugh goes.
Yeah.
Like it is crazy. And then he gets up, he does this opening bit. Everyone's red hot from the laughs. He's a proper good vent. Like it is just, he's just a master. And this circling back to the first time I saw him, and the first time I also saw a good friend, the Amazing Nigel, he he headlined the show when we first. So this was back in Rudy Hill at the GenieCon convention, and everyone was like, "No, I'm not going after Darren." No, and because everyone refused, I am not going on after Darren. Like that's it. And I'm like, who is he? And then he actually ended up like headlining, and I went, now I know why, because it was the first time when you see those like, oh, this will have you rolling in the aisles, genuinely rolling in the aisles. I was literally on the floor. I was laughing so hard that I had tears in my eyes, and I was trying to wipe them because I didn't want to miss anything. I was like trying to hold my eyes open.
And the
this is how funny he is.
The beautiful thing is, because he's ripping on himself first, like he makes lots of jokes about his weight and his life. So that gives permission to now rip on the audience, or, you know, like he did some great digs at Piper Magic, who organized, and you. What did he say to you? He's like, why do you have nothing on top? It's like you're upside down. You got hair at the bottom and nothing on top.
He was like, how come you're bald but you got a beard? It looks like your face is upside down.
That's right. That's right. And he's like, you know, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm so glad that I'm not getting paid today. You know, but you get to come for free. Woo. But his delivery is so good. And his ability to let the audience laugh just long enough. And then he's like, anyway. And then he just has another killer line ready to go. We need to have him on this podcast. Why the hell have we not had him on yet? I'm sending a message to him.
Let's beg him.
Well, he probably needs to recover, but this week I'm definitely sending him a message. You guys need to see how great this dude is. I understand why you don't see videos of him going up and promo and pushing media and stuff, because he doesn't need to. He's just fucking funny.
So funny.
Proper.
Yeah, just for reference, there is like this particular award. I forget what it's called, but it's quite prestigious to the point where John Farnham, who is, I don't know, the
Australian icon. Yeah,
he's an Australian icon. He's kind of like he's like the Bruce Springsteen or something of, you know, like he's affectionately known to us as Australia as the Voice. Like he is the Voice. He's won this award like 7 times. Darren Carr's won it 8. Of like being Australia's best entertainer, like just for reference, that's how good.
Yeah, that sounds right.
That's how good he is. So anyway, so he opens up. Following him is my friend and yours, Brendan Dooley, all the way from New Zealand, and he performs his killer bit, hoop and glass routine, which man, rock the room. Like he does this bit, like, and I half wonder if he did it on purpose, because you know that thing where jugglers do, where it's like they're going to do their final trick and they screw it up once or twice.
Yeah,
I sometimes wonder. I should have asked him, but it's this whole like flip on the front, flip behind the back, flip this and that, catch it, toss it in the air, grab the drink, and then skull. Like it was.
I've never seen it in real life. It was pretty crazy to see. And Brendan's a tall guy, and the roof is a low roof, so he even had to, for the finale. So we're just talking about a little wooden hoop and a glass of water that's balancing on it, and you're spinning it around, and he like does a double, he throws it and it spins around twice in the air, catches it, throws it up, catches the glass. And he dropped it once or twice, what to Nick's saying, sometimes you have to stuff it up to let people know what you're doing is real. Because for a second, I'm like, how is that water not coming out when you're flipping it around? Like maybe it's a gimmick glass, but the fact that it did spill on one of the earlier ones made me go, oh, holy crap. Okay, this is all as it is. Yeah. And then when you see him nail the big finale, I mean, every version he was doing was amazing. But then when you see him do it, it's like, holy crap, this is insane.
Absolutely. He followed up with a killer card trick, and then he finished with his killer piece of, he's just a bill inside Crunchy Bar. It's one of the cleanest things you'll ever see. Credit to him on the method for that. Super genius stuff. And then, people were talking about it like consistently afterwards. So like, well done to him.
Hell yeah.
Yep. Then our good friend, Martin, he also performed a set as well. Again, just beautiful Spanish magic. That's it.
He's found a way. Martin's found a really nice way of like, you know, his English is great, but he does have a Spanish accent, obviously being from Argentina. So, but he uses that to his advantage. Like he will say things and like, how you say, you know, cup and ball. And it'll be like, you know, this saying is better in Spanish. Yes. Yeah. And then, you know, he he uses his Spanish style of like very one-timer. He's like, do this and cha da 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 da, like shuffle the deck. Like, instead of saying, can you shuffle the deck? He's like, can you cha da 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 da? Great. And then as they're shuffling, he's like, cha da 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 da. He's just like having fun, and there's no like dull moments. And like he's like teaching some Spanish words throughout the show, and it's like very unique to any of the other acts. Like everyone else that came on stage is trying to be funny and trying to be like, you know, comedy magic, but his stood out as being so different, but really engaging. It's really nice.
He does this really funny bit where he's like, my English is not so good. Your name is? And he's like, I'm Liam. He's like, can I call you Martin? Good.
Yeah.
And then he goes to another person, what is your name? And he's like, Martin. And then he goes to the third person. He's like, and your name is? He's like, Gavin. He's like, after an awkward pause goes, Martin. Oh, good, Martin.
Yeah.
And
Can
then
I
he gets
call
a woman.
you
It's like,
Martin?
yeah. And then he gets a lady. He's like, and your name? Martina. Good. Come on, Martina. And then there's a beautiful piece of magic with them. Like, just really fun. Really fun stuff. So, and again, he's a pleasure to watch. He slayed. Then we took a short break after that, which I had to pee because Darren's so funny. Sean Taylor. I've got to talk about Sean Taylor's set. His mentalism piece. Bro.
What are you going to say about it?
Okay, so he did the thing with the balls. Like, okay, you know that thing where it's like all these bags go in a ball, you grab a ball, and then you say, like there's one black ball, one miscolored ball in amongst all these white balls, and you got to guess which color the ball is. And then you saw the like no magnets, no none of that jazz. Like just really cool. And I'm like, this was awesome. This was really awesome. And what I loved about watching his act as well is that it's fun watching the process. Like I say this, I don't say this with any beguilement, but it's that type of thing where like, what is mentalism? It's a 1-minute routine crammed into 30 minutes, you know? And that process of watching people attempt to make it look like a process can be so laborious and so like, can you do the magic already? Or can you do the moment already? And you're like, ugh. But watching the way Sean does it, master. It's just full. Absolutely beautiful. And so watching him do that was great. Then he did this awesome lottery prediction. And I loved that because I'm working on a lot of predictions myself. And his was so clever, like so clever. And I just thought it was brilliant. I just thought his set was absolutely killer. He knocked it out the park. And yeah, I just don't have enough good things to say about him. It was such a pleasure to watch him like work. It was just great. Yeah. And then I think rounding it out was our good friend, the Amazing Nigel, to have closed the night. Is that right?
Yeah, the Amazing Nigel. You know, he's so seasoned, and he just like he was the perfect guy to close the show because he. Even after the audience watching magic for an hour and a half or an hour and 50 minutes, he just came up with such energy like he always does, like a champ. And he loves doing magic that's like weird and peculiar and funny and so good. So he did a routine with cheese, which if you've seen him perform, you'll know what it is. If you haven't, you should just come to see him perform because he's at the Theatre of Magic every week. And so he's getting people up. He's like having people throw slices of cheese into the audience and they're putting cheese down their pants and all this hilarious stuff. And that's great. And then he closes out the convention like a freaking champ.
Man, like as people are coming in and sitting down, he walks about the place. He shakes your hand. He says, what is your name? You tell him. And he goes, radio, and remembers it. And then at the end of the show, he thanks every one of you by name to show that he remembered every single. And not only that, there was people who were like, you moved seats. You were over there before.
Yeah, that was so good. Like, we all know he can do this. Like, he's the only person in Australia I know of that is a memory expert in this way. And that's why he's had such a long career. He's the only person who can freaking do it. So we all know he's going to do it. Like, we know it's going to happen. We know he can do it. But yet seeing him recite 150 people's names is still so incredible to watch. And when he said, you were sitting over there, you changed your name. And like, oh, you gave me this name, but your real name is this name. And like he's throwing in jokes as he's naming every single person in the convention.
we have another Sean. There's a Sean there, Sean there, Sean there, and Sean there, and a Sean there. And I was like,
that's right.
That's correct. Those guys are all Sean, you know?
And like Scott P is saying, a lot of complicated names too. Like there are a lot of like Asian names that phonetically in Australia is hard to pronounce, but he not only pronounced it, but remembered it. And and what's funny is like, I think his record is 300 names. So for him, at the Theatre of Magic, when he does this, 50 people is like a walk in the park for him. But for me to remember 50 names, freaking impossible in an hour. So yes, and then 150 names is still not even maxing out his CPU in his brain. But like for us, it's incredible. So that got a standing ovation to end the gala show. And it was just like the perfect placement to have him there and to have Darren emceeing. For me, Darren and Nigel were the highlights because I'd never seen Darren work, and it's just so funny. It didn't even have to do magic. And then Nigel's always going to be a favorite because like that's a skill no one has. I don't know a single person personally that does it. And to me, it's Harry Lorraine and the Amazing Nigel. I can't remember names, you know.
Yeah. Now, we have interviewed Nigel once before on episode 178. So if you do want to listen to
Good
that,
memory.
you can. Thank you, Google. You can listen back on your favorite platform, or of course, go back and scope it out on YouTube. If you just look up Memory Master, the Amazing Nigel, that's episode 178. So yeah, I revisit that episode, it is brilliant.
Yeah. All in all, the Assembly Convention was unreal. There's talks of it coming back next year. Sean threw out the line, maybe next year. So maybe it's a time to consider coming to visit Australia and checking out a cool lecture, because there's always top tier guests coming along to it. And now I'm just more excited, even more excited now for Magic Live in August, because this was like such a great time, such a great weekend. And now I look forward to doing more of that convention-y stuff.
Indeed.
It was great.
But, you know, the good thing about conventions as well, friends, is not only what happens in the convention, but the moments in between, the moments that you make friends. There are so many people that I met. I met Harry. I met Lewis, amazing. Hassan, he was just these guys. These guys have hands, man. These guys have hands. And it's like, that's the beauty of these sort of situations. You meet these people, you set up these friendships, and you watch them do stuff. That's where the magic is, those moments in between. Unfortunately, we're at an hour and 7 minutes now here on the YouTube. So it's at the point where we sort of need to wrap up, and we could talk about all that stuff. But I implore you, if you have an opportunity to be a part of a convention and learn some knowledge, I highly suggest you do it. And again, we will keep pushing to ensure that Piper does these again in the future. And we'll do everything we can to be a part of it as well. And everyone who came and said hello and listened to the pod, hey man, so cool to meet you. Again, shout out to Dave and Gregory, who I hadn't met before. And of course, to catch up with good friend Scotty P, who we love immensely. It was great. So I think as we take out the episode, is there anything we want to make mention?
Look, I'm saying this to the universe. We want to have Christian Grace on the pod. We want to have Darren Carr on the pod. But otherwise, it was just, it was great to see fellow magicians, people that listen to the pod, people who don't listen to the pod, but just, just great guys. And yeah, it's great to watch my fellow brother Nick work at the Theatre of Magic as always. We're going to do more of that. And yeah, all around, such a fun weekend. Yeah. So that's it, my friends. I hope you could live a little bit vicariously through us.
Yeah. In fact, everyone out there, message Christian Grace on Instagram and go, please go on the Magic Guys podcast. Just shoot him that and I'll do the rest. Thank you.
Yes. And we will see you next time on The Magic Guys.
Thanks for listening. It's time for us to disappear now. But we'll see you again on the next episode of The Magic Guys.